continuing to explore Brush Ninja for our stop motion animation. The first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to add a background. I'd like to make a field of flowers, so I'm thinking maybe a blue sky. Notice down here there's a picture of mountains in the sun, and that is what we normally remember as pictures. And in this case, it works to set our background. Here are all of our options. So I can set a color, and maybe we'll have a bit of a darker sky. And once I've chosen it, I can say pick color, and there it is. So that's one way to change the background, but I think I'd like some clouds down to choose my background. And this time I'm going to search for an image online. In the search bar, I'm going to type in clouds, and I like this one, so I'm going to choose that one and set it as a background. Perfect. Now I need a bit of grass on the bottom. Remember our shapes? Remember that the pencil makes the outline of the shape and the paint bucket fills it in. So I want to make sure that they are both green so that I can have some nice green grass. And I've chosen this square for my shape. There we go. Next, I'm going to choose the pen to draw a line for the stem. I don't need it filled in, so I'm going to make that transparent again. And I do want a green stem. So here we go. I'm just going to go up. There we go. And let's go ahead and duplicate that. This grew very, very quickly. I'm going to choose a lighter color now for the inside of my shape. So I want this into the paint bucket, and I'm just going to add on a little leaf. There we go. Remember, I'm duplicating it, so it's going to kind of look like the flower is appearing. And another leaf. And I'm going to start by adding just a little green part on top. So normally we think of this as the bud of the flower. And duplicate it. Now as my flower grows, the bud will actually open up and it will change into a different color. So let's try this out. I'm going to take my cursor and I'm going to click on that little bud and I'm going to change it to maybe a yellow color for the outside. And then I'm going to duplicate it. And now I'm going to take that outline again. I'm going to click on that center and I'm going to change that outline to yellow as well. And again, I'm going to duplicate it. Now it's time to start making some petals. I'm going to show you two ways to do this. The first way is of actually drawing the petal, and I'm going to have a red outline and a pink center. So petal by petal, I'm going to, oops, I need the right tool for it. So I do need to use my pen, and I'm going to use smooth, and I'm just going to draw a petal like this. And then let's try something different. Now that I've drawn one, I'm going to select it. So that means I'm going to use the cursor to click on it, and I am going to duplicate it. So now I can actually make petals all around my flower. Duplicate it again, turn it a bit, position it, duplicate it, and I'm just adding my petals on. So that's one thing I wanted to point out to you, that you always have a choice of duplicating um, the parts that make up your flower or whatever other creation you're making. Now, notice that my nice circle in the middle is kind of hidden by all of the petals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this part forward. So whenever we're working with graphics, it's kind of like one layer on top of another layer on top of another layer, or you can think of different sheets of paper on top. So we can bring things forward or we can send things back. I'm going to use my cursor to try to click on that centerpiece, and I want to bring it forward and bring it forward and bring it forward until it's all the way at the top. It had a lot of layers to go. And now I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So there is the first part of my flower. I'd like a few more flowers. Let me go ahead and duplicate this down here since it's kind of the final one that I want. There's also something called group and ungroup. I'm going to use my cursor and I'm going to select my flower. So I'm going to do the whole thing in the box and I'm going to click on group. So now I have the whole thing together. And again, I can say duplicate. And now I have two flowers. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate again. And let's try one more and duplicate. So now I have three flowers. Let's test this out quickly. There we go. Now I'd like my flowers to kind of move. So let's take a look at some of the things that I can do. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my frame since I'm going to be changing some things. Remember, I grouped them together. So now I can actually make one grow. So I'm making it bigger and then duplicating it. And I want them to switch. I want this one to shrink back down to size. This one is now going to grow. And maybe we'll have this one grow too. So we'll make kind of a bit of a pattern. So you can see how these two are now bigger. Now take a look. We can actually, do you see that there's that duplicate symbol right in here? I can duplicate this one with the big flower in the middle, and I can move it over one frame. So now I'm starting a bit of a pattern. Big one, the middle one is bigger, and then the two side ones are bigger. Middle one is bigger, the two side ones are bigger. Let me duplicate this one again, and I'm going to add a frame to the end. So let's see if we can start getting our flowers to dance. There we go. Those are some other things that you can do with Brush Ninja. Have fun!